What's going on out there, lacrosse fans and sports bettors alike? Welcoming you into Bet On Lacrosse, where we're aiming not just to cash tickets, betting on the fastest game on 2 feet. We're also aiming each and every week to make you a better. If you don't know by now, I'm your host, Dan Alexander. You can get me on Twitter at Newbie Talks. And today I'm joined by my guy, Bet On Lacrosse analyst, Brian Andrews. You can find him on Twitter, Brian Andrews backwards. Just type it in, go backwards. It's a good workout for your brain. Today, he's going to be giving our favorite plays for NLL Week 7. And you're wondering, well, Dan, you're here with us. Why don't you tell us what you like? Well, I like what Brian likes. And I had to bring in Brian because I'm still reeling. I mean, let's start by talking about some Week 6 action. And I'm like still licking my wounds because there was a 2.5 spread that was on the board. I came on and said, I love this. I'm riding the 2.5 till the wheels fall off. It was Panther City Lacrosse Club. It was looking great. Earlier in the game, there was even some potential for like an outright win. But how about they end up losing by 3 because of one of those open net goals? Like people who bet lacrosse and people who bet hockey especially, when you're riding an underdog, some bad things can happen when that goal gets empty. So even with the end of the streak, there's no 2.5 spreads this Week 7 slate. So I'll at least be able to cleanse my palate and not go back to the well because, man, talk about bad beats. Like it was such a bad beat for me that I don't even want to give you a pick this week, but that's why I put the brain together. And for our picks this week, we're going to our guy, Brian Andrews, on NLL Week 7. Brian, what do we got for the folks, my man?
Hey, Dan, happy to be here. First game we want to talk about is the Bandits versus the Swarm. The Bandits are rolling through the league right now. Let's talk a little bit about their accolades before I give you my pick. They're first in goals for average, first in goals against average. They are undefeated outright. They're the money line favorite every time and 1.5 favorites every time. Their average win margin is 5.67, and the books keep making them 1.5 point favorites. The Swarm, on the other hand, they're fourth goals for against, which means their offense has been very potent. We saw that against the Wings last week, but they're 12th in goals against average, which means their defense is struggling a little bit, and they're going up against the best offense in the league. So for all of those aforementioned reasons, we really like the Bandits minus 1.5. You can get that plus 115 at Sports Interactions in Canada, or in America, Caesars is offering it for minus 110. So you have to lay a little bit of money in America, but it's too good of a bet. And you're not laying too much money down if you're betting it with Caesars. It's too attractive of an option.
I mean, if it's only, you're only laying, $11 to win the $10 if you're a small bettor like that. So you're only laying your usual juice. I like that play too. Now, one question I have before we get into our next picks, Brian, is I feel like jokes have been made on social media about it, but I think you're starting to see it out on the field. The chemistry between the Bandits, everybody kind of jokes about how they basically got to play together all summer. Now, I think with the early season success, I don't think that's just jokes anymore. You know what I mean? Like clearly this team is clicking where some other teams are still trying to find that footing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and you can see that in the skits that they're putting out on Twitter. It's this game.
That's fair.
They're having a great time, and I don't see that momentum going away.
I agree. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you.
Take it from them.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who will take it from them. Well, we're going to keep our momentum going because we're not done yet. What else do we got for the folks this week, Brian?
Next, we're going to be looking at the Thunderbirds Rock under 20.5, which is plus 100 right now on Caesars. The Thunderbirds haven't played in a month. Their last matchup was actually against the Rock, which ended in an 11-7 bout. Schreiber and Dawson were both active at the time, and the Rock only came up with 7. The Rock have been struggling offensively against stronger defensive teams like the Bandits last week. They only put up 6 against the Bandits. And in general, the Rock have only posted more than 10 goals once, which should be partially a requirement to hit this over, and haven't hit an over all season. So even though it's a low total, I think this is the prime game to get some plus money on an under for a low total.
Beautiful stuff there by my guy, Brian Andrews. And There it is. That's our thoughts on this week's NLL slate. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on social media at Bet On Lacrosse. You can get us at Pro Lacrosse Bets as well. Also, you heard all that info that BA was dropping all show long. You make sure you sign up for the waitlist for the Bet On Lacrosse report, and you can have all that info right at your fingertips. Make sure you chirp us on social media. Let us know who you're betting this week. Tune in throughout the season as we preview these NLL lines, and we help you bet on lacrosse.